Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Mr. Jesse Perales and Martina Espinoza from the Carpenters Local 152 and Piledrivers Local 34. And the floor is your guys's. Take it over.
Good morning. So my name is Jesse Perales, and I am the representative for the Carpenters Local 152. I'm actually the marketer and political representative here in Contra Costa County. So I'm going to go back to when I first graduated from high school. I didn't know what I really wanted to do. I did grow up son of a union laborer, so he was in the laborers union. But I did not like working in the sun because I did go work for him a few times. So I did try going to city college, and after a couple of years, I realized I never liked sitting behind a desk for periods of time. So my dad, got paid pretty well being a union landscaper in the laborers union. He made about $23 an hour back in 1992. Now I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. 92, that's like back in the Stone Ages, So, but I knew I wanted to be in the union. So since I didn't like working in the sun, I decided to become a carpenter, and I became an acoustical installer apprentice. It was a 3-year apprenticeship program back then. Now it's a 4-year, but we'll get into the apprenticeship a little bit later. So when I did join, I started making $10.80. Back then that was a lot of money. I wish I had saved my first check. But now an apprentice that starts today, actually without any experience, starts making $31.59 with a benefit package of $14. But also, like I say, we'll have someone talk on the apprenticeship a little later. After working for almost 18 years, I decided to apply to become a representative for the Northern California Carpenters Regional Council to work in the office. And I started doing that, and I started going to job sites to visit our members. But after 3 years, they've made me the marketer and political director of Contra Costa County, which that part of my job is to keep track of all the work and talk to our local politicians here in Contra Costa County. But by doing that, it got me back to sitting behind a desk for most of the day, which is what I didn't really want to do when I went to college. So that's a little bit of background on how I started. I've been doing this for 23 years, 18 years in the field and 5 years in the working for the council. So by being able to become a union carpenter has actually opened up a lot for myself and my wife, actually, because we do get paid well. A journeyman carpenter right now, without working any overtime, is starting to break $100,000. And that's, like I say, you come in at 31.59 without any experience. You go through our apprenticeship program, which we have 10 different fields you could choose from. Gives you a lot of opportunities. And so that's my story. And I'm going to throw it to our Piledrivers with our senior agent who works there, is Chris Moyer.
Hey, thank you, Jesse. Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Moyer. I'm the senior field representative here at Piledrivers Local 34. What is pile driving? You ever been driving down the road? You see a crane on the side of the road. It looks like it has another piece of crane hanging off of it. It's banging something in the ground, making a big ladder rocket. That's pile driving. We drive pile, typically of concrete, sometimes of steel pipe, sometimes of wood or composite materials, into the ground to stabilize and improve the foundation of structures that we want to build, primarily heavy structures such as bridges, large buildings, things of that nature. Because pile driving, because when you build something over the water, you have to put it on pile because you have to levitate it. That actually causes our field, or gives our field the opportunity to transition into marine construction. And through marine construction, we inevitably come to things like very specialized fields such as commercial diving. There are a lot of opportunities here in this career field. I'm here, by the way, with my fellow field representatives, Brother Martin Espinoza, Brother Christopher Puglisi, and Brother Martin Espinoza Jr. We're the 4 reps here at Local 34. Our reason for existence is to help our members find work and explore the opportunities that this career field offers. Like Brother Jesse said, at 152, we are actually a subcraft of the Carpenters, so our wage rates and apprentice rates are pretty similar. So we'll get into those numbers. They vary by a couple dollars here, this way or that. But the bottom line is it's joining the Piledrivers Union, as is the case with the Carpenters, opens the door for a lot of great opportunities for you. It opens up door for an opportunity for you to not just have a job, but to develop a career, and a career that gives you an expectation of good benefits and a dignified retirement. I'm going to turn it over right now to Brother Espinoza Jr. to talk a little bit about our apprenticeship program. I'm going to step out and thank you for watching.
Hello, everybody. My name is Martin Espinoza Jr. So if you're getting close to your junior and senior year and you're finding yourself like, what am I going to do after high school? What do I have any plans to go to college? Do I like college? We call our trades the alternative to college. We offer a 4-year apprenticeship program. We're going to get into that with one of our apprenticeship coordinators, but it's an alternative to college. So it's a 4-year apprenticeship program where you're going to learn the skills that are required to have a successful career in our trade. We have 5 apprenticeship centers across Northern California that you guys can attend. It's challenging, but if you like working outdoors, you like working with your hands, you like turning around and seeing a bridge be erected from the ground up, and maybe 10 years down the road, you drive over that bridge and say, I built this bridge 10 years ago. I built America. That if that's something that you're interested in, and you like to get in and you like to be in the elements and working outdoors, then we encourage you to reach out to us. We've tagged our Instagram. Feel free to. We're located in Oakland, California. So if you guys have questions, feel free to call us. We got apprentices that are calling us every day trying to become members. So we got 4 reps here that we'd love to talk to you guys about our stories, about the history, about how we came into the trades. So please feel free to contact us whenever you guys want. But there is other avenues. Just remember, if college isn't for you and you want to do the trades, we got other avenues for you guys. I'm going to pass it over to Chris Puglisi. He'll talk a little bit about pile driving.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy New Year to all. Hope everybody's good, nice and healthy. My name is Chris Puglisi. I'm one of the field reps here at Piledrivers Local 34. Just to share a little bit of my story. Mine's kind of similar to Brother Perales. I was going to a junior college, wasn't really knowing exactly what I wanted to do, and I got a job working on a housing track with the Carpenters Union. I went through my apprenticeship. It provided a pretty decent living for me, healthcare, and as well as other fringe benefits. Once I finished my apprenticeship, I was still doing building schools actually, and then I was living in Southern California, and we had an earthquake. Our first earthquake hit up here in the Northern California. I think that was the Loma Prieta quake, and then Southern California had the Northridge earthquake. Well, that damaged a lot of the infrastructure and the bridges throughout the state. So the demand for bridge carpenters, there was a large demand for bridge carpenters. So I went to work on the bridges, and then my career just kind of evolved into pile driving. It's provided a really great life for myself and for my family. Again, it gives you health care, right? Which is something that you young adults need to think about. A decent wage, and it's instilled a lot of pride and happiness in my life. So I hope that the Brotherhood of Carpenters can provide the same to you. And like Brother Martin said, please reach out to us, and we're just trying to provide another career choice to you young folks. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Happy New Year. My name is Martin Espinoza Sr. So, you got a choice now today. We present our union, Carpenters, Piledrivers. So I was a Boilermaker for quite some time, and I lose some of those years doing that. And I can say that because, the benefits were very low, and with the wages as well. I was working there for 10 years, and all of a sudden, somebody offered me the opportunity to work with Piledrivers, and the very same day they matched my wages. So wages for me and benefits is a big thing. Don't waste your time going from union to union. That's why we're presenting this today, so you can choose the right union for you and for your families. All right. Local 34, It's one of our best unions here in Oakland, and also we cover 46 counties. So you can be living in Fresno, and we got members working in Fresno. Crescent City, we got members working in Crescent City. So welcome to Local 34, and we're here to help you guys. If you decide to be a member of Local 34, just reach out. Thank you.
Again, thank you for watching. Piledrivers Local 34, building the West since 1877.
Okay, so like my brother Martin was saying, we do cover 46 counties, all the way down to Visalia, by Bakersfield, all the way up to the Oregon border, and even Lake Tahoe, parts of Nevada. So I see my brother Clay is not on yet. So our apprenticeship is a 4-year apprenticeship program.
I'm here, Jesse.
Hey, Clayton, there you are. So I will turn it over to my brother Clayton.
No, yeah, I've been here. So hey, hi everybody. My name is Clay. I work for the Carpenters apprenticeship here in Northern California. I myself have been a carpenter for coming up on about 33 years. Went through apprenticeship. So we have 4 apprenticeship schools throughout Northern California. We have one in Fresno, one in Morgan Hill, one in Fairfield, and one in Pleasanton. Between those 4 centers, we have about 6,000 carpenter apprentices enrolled. What's unique about the Carpenters is that it covers 11 different crafts, and all those crafts have different apprenticeship programs. They're all taught at many of the same centers, but they're different apprenticeship programs. For instance, you guys just met some pile drivers today and found out what they do. We also have millwrights. There are scaffold erectors and insulators, hardwood floor layers. There's carpenters, drywall lathers who do metal framing and drywall. We have mill cab apprentices. Those mill cab folks put cabinetry in and manufacture it and install it. We also have modular installers, and a lot of these crafts do very unique things that someone from another craft might not be able to do. For instance, I was a drywall lather, but millwrights do things and pile drivers do things I couldn't do, and maybe vice versa. You guys heard everybody kind of touched on it. We're a 4-year apprenticeship for the most part. Some of our crafts are 3-year apprenticeships, but most of them are 4. During that apprenticeship, you go to school once every 3 months or 4 times a year. You get a raise every 2 classes, 6 months, and 600 hours. There are 8 levels of apprenticeship during those 4 years. And during that, you're enrolled in the training center of your choice. You go and you learn things like everything from, it depends what craft you're in, but if you're a carpenter, you'd be learning everything from welding to building stairs to roof trusses to structural systems and so on. We also have a 6-week pre-apprenticeship, which we do partner with Mount Diablo Unified School District, and they have access to our pre-apprenticeship. Pre-apprenticeship is like a 6-week boot camp for folks with no experience. They come in, they learn in 6 weeks an intensive training course on how to survive out on the job site and get the skills they need. Some folks come in not knowing how to read a tape measure. Other folks come in with quite a bit of skill. I noticed that I looked at the participant list, noticed there were a lot of men and women in this Zoom breakout room today. And we have a lot of successful men and women in our trade that are out in the field, that act as, that move on to be project managers and superintendents and the like. I always fear that we'll get too short on time. Does anybody, is our questions going to be all held to the very end?
Well,
Does anybody know?
I can start asking a couple questions that I have got sent to me on the chat privately. You had just touched on men and women. Can you talk about maybe the ratio of men to women, and how successful are women in this union and in this field?
Absolutely. Let me speak to apprenticeship. We run at about 7. In the neighborhood of 7 to 10% females are apprentices. Are they successful? Very successful. I think there's one of our business agents, his daughter is in the trades, is in apprenticeship school. And many of the skill sets that they have are unique, and they're able to leverage those in the trades. It's no longer, I think a lot of people would test, it's no longer purely relying on just like some physical brute strength. It really the being safe, showing up on time, having a great attitude, those skills will take you a lot farther than you're lifting an extra bundle of 2x4s on your shoulder. And those so we do have, they are just successful as any apprentice, and they work out in the field. And there's a lot of organizations and support for them also. There's a group called Tradeswomen Inc. who helps point people in the right direction for apprenticeship previous to entry into apprenticeship. There's also Sisters in the Brotherhood, who's an organization in the union. Jesse, you might be able to speak a little bit more about that if you wanted to.
Yes, so we
but
do
that's an organization. Oh, go ahead.
Look, yeah, it is Sisters in the Brotherhood. If you go to our website, nccrc.org, which is Northern California Carpenters Regional Council, we have a whole page dedicated to the Sisters in the Brotherhood. Like Brother Clayton was saying, with the Mount Diablo Unified School District, with that agreement, I believe it's 20% of any applicants that come in have to be female. So like I say, with the Sisters in the Brotherhood, they do get together to certain events. Obviously, this was before the pandemic. Every year we would send at least 2 to 4 sisters from each local to various events around the country. I think last year, it was, I want to say Chicago or Indianapolis, but they had the opportunity to go. Everything here, other than your dues, which is $18 a month, the schooling is free, all the training. Anywhere we send you is free. We have our training center in Las Vegas, which we send a lot of our journeymen and even our third year apprentices. So we definitely promote Sisters in the Brotherhood very much. We have an event at every center, at least once a year. Hopefully once we get back to normal, we'll be able to start that back up again. But we definitely heavily promote the sisters in our trade.
Awesome. That's super awesome to hear. Oh, go ahead, Clay. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. I just wanted to kind of piggyback on what Jesse just said. A lot of people do look at apprenticeship as an alternative to college, but I myself, who didn't go to college but did graduate 4 years apprenticeship, also looked at it as almost like just a different type of a college. I mean, when you graduate apprenticeship school, you will be very close to an AS degree. We have an agreement with American River College, and you will get college credits for being in apprenticeship school. Another big part that we've all kind of said but glazed over, we're tuition free. You will graduate 4 years of apprenticeship school with no college debt. It's about, if you had to pay for apprenticeship yourself, it's been calculated that it's probably around about $120,000 education. Remember, all your instructors, all your curriculums paid for, all the material that you use. When you go to apprenticeship school, you'll have a mix of classroom and shop. Almost every class that you take during apprenticeship school, you'll be out in the shop. You're building full-size mock-ups of things. And then no, we're not building like balsa wood models. Where you're out there building a bridge abutment or a roof structure. So the two big parts of that there are college credits for that, and it's a tuition-free education. And it's earn while you learn. So you're working out in the field while you're coming in for school once every 3 months to learn skills to take back out to the field with you.
That's so awesome. There really is something to be said about, cost-free tuition or cost-free school.
Yeah.
That's a big, huge deal. Yeah, I see thumbs up. Martin and your crew, if you guys can quickly touch base on, we have a couple of minutes. Can you talk about what's some of the coolest projects you guys have been on? What's some of the, driving down one of the coolest buildings you've maybe worked on? What you love about the work you do again?
Sure. Well, Brother Puglisi and myself both worked on the Bay Bridge project. Martin and Martin Jr. Yeah, Martin and Martin Jr. were bridge builders. If you drive over a bridge in Northern California, there's a chance that one of these guys laid hands on it. When I was in the field, I was a commercial diver. I dove on dams and rivers and working on the waterfront in San Francisco, getting paid to drive around in a boat on the waterfront in San Francisco in a skiff right next to people in $300,000 sailboats that are paying to be out there, and me getting paid to do it on a beautiful warm sunny day is one of the most amazing things you ever want to do. Would you guys talk about some of the cool stuff you've done?
So I guess for me, the highlight of my career would be working on the Bay Bridge. I was there for probably 5 years, and that was pretty neat to see it come out of the bay and as to what it is now. And I think I can speak for all of us, it's a pretty rewarding monument, you know. And that's one thing about this I really like about being a pile driver, bridge builder. Like Martine mentioned, is you'll be out driving with your family and you'll drive over three bridges that you worked on or been a part of. So you kind of build monuments, which is always very attractive to me. Another thing I want to bring up to the young folks is, you know, we're called United Brotherhood of Carpenters, and it's a sisterhood too. And you know, it's like joining a family. You know, nationwide, I think we have 450,000 members nationwide. So these guys are all my family. The members are my family, and we really love them a lot. And we'd be honored to have you folks as part of our family.
And with
Yeah. Go ahead.
With Local34, you're not just a pile driver. At the same time that you're a pile driver, you can have your certifications for welding. So now you are a pile driver and a certified welder, and also a bridge builder. So you can be working all year round, making good money. You know, like he says, we work on the Bay Bridge, Benicia Bridge, you know, working out in the heights, and we work with companies that make $6 million in bonuses just to complete a bridge in 2 months. So it's always a challenge. It's always good. It's always if you like to be a pile driver, bridge builder, certified welder, like I say, welcome, and we're here to tell you everything about it.
I love it.
So I'll go real quick because I did work indoors, but the best one I worked at was California Academy of Science, being able to work up 35 to 50 feet in the air, you know, and so if you guys ever get to go there, you know, the Carpenters worked a lot there. And a quick recap, you know, starting as an apprentice, it is 31, I think it's 31.59 an hour. When you, after your 4 year, a journeyman right now makes 52.65. But if you were to join now, because our rates go up every year, every July 1st, we do get a raise. I believe, let's say you join today, you graduate in 4 years, it might be up to like 57 and change. So it is a great career. Appreciate the pile drivers being here and, you know, Clay for, you know, telling us about the school. So we hope to get some questions at the end of this program. So can't wait. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Can you just really quickly, any of you, tell us what the application process looks like and what you have to be 18, high school diploma, driver's license? What are some of the qualifications that you need?
I could chime in a little bit.
Cool.
So the preferred way to fill an application is online. I'll give you guys a couple of websites. Hopefully there's someone out there floating and they got a pen in front of them and they're ready to get some information. But if you go to ctcnc.org, that stands for Carpenters Training Committee, Northern California. So ctcnc.org, you'll see an application link, and that's where you fill out an application. What that application is doing is you're getting into a waiting list to get into pre-apprenticeship. So that waiting list can be long, but there are ways to get to the top of that list. And one of them is through the agreement that we have with Mount Diablo Unified School District and your carpentry and woodshop program. They can get to the top of that list. If they're in that carpentry program and they complete it and they're recommended, they can get to the top of the list, which is going over the top of probably about, can be anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 people. That waiting list, I said it like is long. There are other ways in as well that could be discussed more in detail, but there's a kind of, it's unique to each individual, whether they have experience and things like that. The application process is, if you're under 18, you just need a parent or guardian signature. We don't require, a driver's license is not a requirement, but it definitely is strongly suggested. in other words, imagine you got to get to your classes and work somehow. So we suggest that you have a driver's license, but not a requirement. But I know one apprentice that didn't have a vehicle when he started and was Ubering back and forth to not only work, but apprenticeship classes until he could save enough money for a car. And, you know, starting wages of $30 an hour, you could relatively quick especially if you're living at home, and you could save for a decent car pretty quick. I mean, my first vehicle, I could see the road going under the floorboards with a big hole in it. So it wasn't anything special. For application process, no experience is required. We don't, as far as we do drug tests in pre-apprenticeship classes, and many contractors out in the world work for clients. I mean, they work for Apple, Intel. One of my first jobs was the Intel clean room, and a lot of the clients where they do require drug testing on their projects. But as far as for pre-apprenticeship, we do drug tests, but we don't do background checks and things like that. And so you don't get excluded for maybe if you have something on your record or anything, which may be, if you're a minor, it would be closed anyway. But application process is pretty easy. Just go online, fill out an application. That's always a great place to start.
Awesome. Thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate it. Please feel free to stay on for the rest of our presentation. Our next guest is about to start, and then we have a few minutes at the end for just some more questions and answers. But again, thank you so very, very, very much, you guys, for coming on and taking time out of your day to talk to our students and present. We really appreciate you all being here. Did you want to say something, Martine? I just saw you.
I wouldn't mind adding something real quick, Aaron, if it's okay.
Yeah.
A lot of you folks watching are 17, 18 years old. You know, your whole lives ahead of you. You probably can't even conceive of what life will be like half a century down the road. But I cannot stress, as much as the wages in these career fields are, in these union career fields, I can't stress to you enough how valuable it will be to you one day when you're too old and too tired and too sore to get out of bed and go to work, to have a pension waiting for you. Every hour that a journeyman pile driver works has $11 paid into a pension fund toward retirement, and that adds up. And one day you will, if you do that one day, you will appreciate that more than I can tell you right now. It's probably hard to conceive of it when you're young. I know I couldn't have, but I really want to make that point. I hope folks think about that. And again, thank you for having us. We really appreciate it. We're happy to be here. We're happy to talk to you.
Yes, that is a huge deal, you guys. Trust me. We're super happy that you guys could join us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Stand there, Martine. Don't move on and take a picture. Smile. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, everybody, so we're going to transition right into our next guest. He's already here, but you guys please feel free to stay on, and we will ask some more additional questions at the end. I do understand you have a job to do though, so if you need to take off, that's fine too. I can always email some questions over to you, but thank you again. Our next guest, Mr. Paul James. We are super excited to have him on with us today. And he is from the Plumbers and Steamfitters UA159. And I'm just going to go ahead and hand it right on over to him. Mr. Paul James, take it away.
Good morning, everybody, and pleasure to be here. Fantastic setup here by Aaron. And unfortunately, I'm an older gentleman, and we didn't have this when I was in high school, and this would have been something I would have participated in. So anyway, first of all, before I get started, we are I represent Local 159 Plumbers and Steamfitters in Martinez, California. And I'll get into why there are different locals. You heard on Tuesday, if you participated on Tuesday, you heard from Local 342, and I'll discuss why there's different locals in different areas. And I'll get into that more. But if you could right now, write this number down. This is our local union number, area code 925-229-0400. And I'll give you our website. It's UA Local159.org. Okay. So my presentation today is in 6 parts. First part, I'm going to give you who I am, a little bio on me, and then I'll discuss what plumbing is and the actual scope of our trade. And then I'll discuss specifically what we offer here at Local 159 in Martinez. And then I'm going to discuss our 5-year program, and I'll discuss the union versus non-union, why a union is so important. And then I'll discuss the application process, what you'll need to know. And then I'll give you my overall thoughts on what my career has been like. You'll pick a lot of that up in my info. So let me get going on my bio here. Again, my name is Paul James. I went to high school locally here at Pleasant Hill High School, no longer in existence, unfortunately. We sent all our kids in 1980 out to Ignacio and Northgate and College Park. I went directly from high school right into a 4-year college, and I don't regret that. I truly enjoyed it, and I was really good in high school in math and physics, chemistry, and there was just a great opportunity to go to school. Back then, tuition was a lot cheaper than what you guys are experiencing today. So I had a first career after I finished my 4 years, and was deciding what direction my life would take then. And I tried 3 years of college level coaching and realized that really wasn't what I wanted as far as raising a family. If any of you guys are familiar with what these coaches go through, in 20 years, they'll be at 20 different schools coaching. They have to travel and get experience, and it's really not conducive to a good family life. And I wanted to be around and participate in my kids' life growing up, because that is really number one for me. So as I was growing up, I developed mechanical skills because I came from a family that with just the mother, did not have a father. So financially, it was really tight. And I had to learn to do everything. I had to maintain the family car. I had to work on my own car cost. My first car was $10. And that was for the 2 front recap tires. And so I really learned how to work with tools. You know, at Christmas time, I'd ask for tools to work with. So I became real handy with my hands, and I had to repair everything around the house because my mom couldn't do any of that. So I developed a real knack for that. And then, like I said, in high school, I was really challenged by physics, chemistry, things that really make the world go round. It applies to everything, colors that we see in plants, and it really explains a lot of things. So after that career fizzled, that first career I decided I wasn't going to do, I took a temporary job in construction because I did have good hands-on. And after working about 6 months, I figured out, you know what, if you're going to do this, I was working non-union, and I decided that I needed benefits. I needed health. I was no longer under my parents' care. You guys are lucky today because of the Affordable Care Act that you guys are covered up till 26, but we didn't have that back then. So I was on my own in my early 20s. So got in and found out about the plumbing union. It appealed to me because it was very mechanical, and took the test, did well on the test, got into the apprenticeship, started out with that 4 years. They place you at different jobs, so you get a nice spread of the types of construction that are going on out there. Became a journeyman, completed my apprenticeship. Worked a lot of residential because that's what was happening in the 80s and 90s, early 70s or late 70s. Residential, they were really building the suburbs out here. And then I became a foreman, and then started working commercial. Did a lot of the high rises in in Concord and Walnut Creek. And then I decided that I would start my own company. So I went off and started a custom home plumbing company. And I really enjoyed that. It was a challenge, writing contracts, estimating, and leading the construction on those projects, and just being exposed to all the architectural new homes that were being constructed, the ideas, the kitchens, the bathrooms. That was very exciting. And then a gentleman that I had gone through my apprenticeship with, he came from a family that had a plumbing company here in the county, Les Gear Company, and he asked me to come back and become a project manager for his company. And I took that opportunity and really got into large commercial again. I then advanced and learned how to be a computer designer, CAD designer, and use that with my project management to be able to really understand, because nowadays every job is built on a computer first. And even as a project manager, you have to know what you're doing as far as coordinating between the different trades, what material goes where and who gets priority and how this is all worked out. And to finish my career up, which I'm doing now, I became an instructor, and I'm giving back to a trade that has given so much to me, and to the local union here in Martinez that gave so much to me and allowed me to live a pretty nice life, stay in the area, build this community that I live in, and it's been truly rewarding. So that was my little intro. At the end, you guys can ask all the questions you want if you want to drill down on specific things. So let me talk about what is plumbing in comparison to this variety of unions that you've been listening to, the apprenticeship programs. Essentially, what plumbing means is we have round pipes carrying various liquids, gases, and we are required to be installed to strict inspected California codes, such as waste, water, and fuel gas that you'll know in your own house when your furnace comes on to heat the air, that we install that piping. The water, when you turn on clear potable water, that's what we do. The waste, taking the waste when it goes down your bathtub drain, down your kitchen sink, and that other fixture in your bathroom, that's what we do. It's a round pipe carrying liquids. And there are so many other trades that you've been exposed to: electrical, the cement masons, brick masons, operating engineers. They run the equipment, the forklifts, the cranes, fire sprinklers, HVAC, that's the heating, ventilation, air conditioning, communications controls, the carpenters, structural steel with the iron workers. All of us have our little niche that we take care of. And it's not so little, because if you've heard each one of these trades, they'll tell you all the opportunities that are available within each scope. So anyway, there's residential plumbing, which is what I just described to you. And then there's commercial. Commercial would be schools, hospitals, sports stadiums. We've been very fortunate in this area to see, the most recent one is Chase over in San Francisco, but AT&T, Cal Stadium, which I was lucky to work on and manage that one. And then the hospitals, I worked at John Muir. So, and there's so many different things that happen in commercial. You have welded pipe, where you typically don't have that in residential. You have chemical piping when you're working on these laboratories. I think Jesse talked about working at the California at UC Berkeley, and their high pressure piping, the refineries, and there's all types of plumbing. And then on top of that, again, I have to emphasize computer-aided design to design all these projects. They're designed over a year out before you ever put a shovel to the ground and start building a project. So But to get to that level, you have to go through a program where you actually understand the codes. For a while, it had been where they would go and get these kids out of school with a 4-year degree in project management or engineering, but they had no clue about how the stuff actually worked or how they didn't understand code. And of course, it took us 5 years to understand that code. It's very, very technical. Okay, so that is what plumbing is. Why go to a union plumber rather than, and if you just want to get in the trades, there's plenty of non-union where Roto-Rooters and things like that, where they'll take you on and train you with somebody. The unions, the heritage is incredible. We're called United Association of Local Unions, UA159. And the United Association was formed back in 1889. And unions really started happening with the Knights of Labor back in the 1850s. And we formed one of the earliest unions, like I said, back in New York in 1889. And what we do is we're worldwide. We're in Canada, we are in Ireland, we're in Australia, and the country is divided up in local unions, and you have your jurisdiction. And you're able to travel. Once you turn out and become a journeyman, you're able to travel to, if you wanted to go to Hawaii and you met somebody who lived in Hawaii, or you wanted just to relocate there, your local union that you turned out, in this case, it would be Local159 in Martinez, we would call Hawaii for you, their local union, see if they had a job, and you could go over there and have a job waiting for you. And anywhere in the United States, like I said, Canada, this all applies. We help you travel once you turn out and be a journeyman. If they have work available, again, they have to be fully employed to be able to take you on. Okay, and that was what I wanted to explain about 342. 342's jurisdiction, plumbing wise, is Alameda County. We have the jurisdiction for Contra Costa County. So, but Local 342 has all the refineries, which is typically different. The industrial piping is different than plumbing. So that's why you heard from 342. Okay, the union versus non-union. We set a rate. We do if you've ever heard of what's called prevailing wage, it is set by whatever unions are in the area. That's what sets the prevailing wage. The non-union is way, way lower. We provide full benefits. We provide medical. You get a pension, which is a fixed amount that comes in when you retire. And then you have also on top of that, a 401k, which a portion of that is mandatory. We take that from your paycheck, and that goes into like a Vanguard fund. And then there you can add up to $10 an hour on top of that when you start earning and turn out and earning large amounts of money, that you can direct more into your 401k, and you get to select the funds that you choose based on your risk. The other great thing about the union, I think these other guys probably emphasized it, is everything is done very fairly. If you were working on a project and that project completed, you would come back to the local union and say, my job ended, I'm checking back in. Your name goes on the list in the time frame that you came back. So if you got laid off on Tuesday and then your friend got laid off on Wednesday, he would be below you on that list. And so when the next jobs come out, they call on list priority. So whoever got laid off first gets sent back out first. And everything is done fairly. If you say, I can't take the job, then they drop to the next name on the list. And part of that is you never look for a job on your own. You will fairly be given work just in the procedure I just described. And so you'll never look for work ever again. Now, that doesn't mean if your name gets out there that you are just a top-notch plumber and your foreman material, that a company can actually, once you've worked for them, they can name call you and you can jump the list that way. But that only applies to a very limited number on the project. In other words, if there's 20 plumbers on a project, they will allow maybe 2 name calls on that. So you are rewarded. This is not a socialist endeavor, as you hear that word happening today in the world, or a communist deal. Your own drive does pay off. Okay, so the union also provides this paid apprenticeship, and we will completely train you, and then you will test at the end of your 5 years, and you have to pass a test. We prepare you for that test, and it's a state proctored test that you have to pass. And then once you turn out, again, now you're able to travel anywhere you want if you want to relocate. And then, as all these guys have mentioned, which is a huge part of it, I'm big on team. Actually, my first career, I told you, was in coaching. This is all about, once you start, you will be part of a team. You will be with your class for the entire 5 years. And that becomes your brothers and sisters, and you help each other, because we want everyone to succeed. We don't want a single apprentice that we take in, because we've invested a lot in you, to ever fail. We need you to be the best possible tradesmen and represent and keep the union strong, because we get things done so much faster than people that weren't highly trained. Okay, so, and then non-union, really, I mean, people will come in and they'll throw a ton of people at non-union. They're not highly trained and they don't pay them very much. And then if that company they're working for goes out of business, there's nowhere for them to go other than to start knocking on doors and say, hey, I've worked at this company, they're no longer in business, can you give me a job? And you're always proving yourself over and over again with none of the benefits. Typically, you won't get medical, you won't get pension. But anyway, that's my little spiel for unions. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about specifically the apprenticeship, what you guys probably want to hear. Okay. This is a 5-year program. You're taught by instructors from our local. These instructors have been sent once a year. We go to Michigan and we're trained in a college on the topics that we're teaching to you guys. And we have to, typically to graduate from that program takes about 4 to 5 years of going back to Michigan for a week every summer to make sure we're already successful in what we're trying to relate to you. And we're typically selected based on our success in our local union, and that we were standout people before we are asked to be instructors. Okay, each class that we take in every year, we take in maybe 10 to 15, and that will be your class. You will stay with those people for the entire 5 years. And you are going to college. We're under the auspices of DVC. We're on DVC's semester program. And at the end of the 5 years, you will be able to get an AA degree if you choose. You need to take some breadth requirements, such as English and history, a few other classes that we do not provide. We're on the typical fall, spring semester. You get summer off. And you are required 2 times a week at night from 5 to 9, you will have classes. During the day, we'll have already given you a job and you will probably be working 40 hours a week. So typically construction works from 7 to 3:30, and you'll have about an hour and a half to get to our facility in Martinez. And there you will have your class two of the nights a week. We're very strict on attendance. You cannot miss. And if you miss for, let's say, a health reason or something very important comes up, you call in and then you will make that up. And then if you miss 2 times, we're very strict. You will double the makeup. You have to make up those hours because we're under the auspices of the state, and they constantly looking at our hours to make sure we're not just passing people through. So this is once you start this program, we will be on you. And if you miss right away, you come up before what we have, a joint apprenticeship training committee made up of companies that are hiring you, plus us as instructors, and you will be put on probation. So there is no fooling around once you get in. Okay. It's tuition free, as everybody else has said, unless you quit the program. If you went through 3 years and you decide, I'm going to go out and work non-union, we're going to require you to pay us back. And so you don't want to come in and just, I'm going to start this and then see how it goes. Make the commitment for the 5 years, stay with it. You don't want to get into that situation. Again, I said, starting day one, you will get, we'll put you into a job site. And of course, you're not expected to know anything, and you will be treated as a first period apprentice. That means your first semester apprentice. You start at 40% of a journeyman's wage. Journeyman's wage right now is right around $60. So you would start at over $24 an hour. And every 6 months, you have to pass your course that you're taking with your class. And you have to have X amount of hours in the field, which of course we're providing for you. And you'll get a 5% increase every 6 months. So you can see within 3 years, you're making well over $50,000, $60,000. Let's see, the actual classes that you will be given over this period. Now, again, these will be shown if you want to go look at DVCs in construction and look under plumbing. They'll tell you what the brief description of these courses are, but essentially code, you'll have a semester in drainage code, you have a semester in water code, fuel gas, you'll have a semester in isometric drawing. Actually, that's a full year in isometric drawing because we do plan reading, how to read blueprints. You'll have a semester in welding, you'll have a semester in heating and cooling. Then in your later years, your 4th and 5th year, we'll get into foreman training, project management, medical gas. Medical gas is a very specialized, again, with my description of what plumbing is, the round pipes that carry fluids and gases. These are medical gas is what's in your headboard when you're in a hospital room, all those gases back there, we brought those gases in. And of course, they have to be so clean because one little speck of particle in there would kill somebody if it went through the oxygen mask. Then we prepare you for STAR testing in your final year, and then you become a journeyman as long as you have the hours required, which are about 8,000 hours after verified field work and passed all your classes. Then you can turn out and become a journeyman, and then life is good. Application process. Okay. So I already gave you the phone number and our website. There's 2 steps. First step is you make your application, and then we'll arrange a test date for you. We only test once a year, and if you don't score high enough in your first go round, you'll have to wait a year and test again. Now, a lot of these tests from all the different locals are pretty much the same proctored test. Ours is done through DVC. Actually, a professor from DVC comes out and administers the test. Let's see. After the test, then you will be, if you score above 70% in both math and mechanical reasoning, you will be asked to come in for an oral interview. And then you will explain why you really want to become a plumber. And again, with only taking 10 to 15 people in, make your case. And we'll ask, again, we don't require any experience, but of course that helps. And I'm going to tell you how to prepare for that. Let's see. And then if you are accepted, you will be given a drug test, and that's it. You just have to be 18 years of age, have your high school diploma or a GED and a valid California driver's license, because you will have to sometimes drive a company truck and go from a job site to job site. And that's why we need you to have a valid California driver's license. Okay, the testing. Let's get into the testing. Your testing is in math and mechanical reasoning, and these are specific to the construction trades. There are preparation sites. Number one I would recommend is DVC. DVC has a pre-apprenticeship program, and they allow kids still in high school to take some of these courses now while you're still in high school for $1 each course. And I think they handle them either in the evenings or on the weekends. So I would definitely look into that. Or you could wait till you graduate and get into their pre-apprenticeship program, which I believe is only like 10 or 13 weeks. And you will graduate from that. They will take you out to construction sites, so you know what you're getting into before you actually go to a union and apply. This gives you a great way to get started. They thoroughly get you prepared for the math test. You go out to, you actually will build some projects at DVC, and it's really a great program. I'm heavily involved with that. The other place you can get preparation for your math is with a gentleman called Mike Mahoney, and he's with he was a member of Local 342, and Mike, let me find that number. Might have gotten rid of it. Call our union number. They will, the number I gave you for us, 229-0400 Martinez, and they will give you Mike's number, and they will specifically prep you for the math and mechanical reasoning. Also, Martinez Adult Education will prepare you for that. Their number is area code 925-335-5890. And again, Mike Mahoney's, the one from 342, their math preparation is done via Zoom, so you're not driving anywhere and being exposed. Okay, so that is the application process. I'm sure I probably left something out, and we'll have some questions on that. And my last thing is just to say I listened to the Carpenters beforehand, and I know every person that's ever been in the trade. And I was very fortunate to stay primarily here in the Bay Area, and specifically Contra Costa County. When I drive by and I go by John Muir, or unfortunately I have to go into John Muir or one of my family members, I just am amazed at what we have created. We're part of a team, the Carpenters, the Glazers, the electricians. We all made this hospital available for us to save our lives. And if an earthquake hits, they have portable generators running on diesel will come online, and that hospital is a standalone. It will survive and be able to take care of the emergencies that occur while the rest of the county is down with no electrical grid up. So going by the schools that I've worked in, the custom homes that I've built, and people are living in there, raising their families, shopping centers, Cal Stadium, Levi Stadium, it's just amazing what you've done in a career. And these jobs, some will last 3 4 years. So in your career, you maybe have 5 6 7 high profile jobs that really you take a lot of care or pride in what you've done and built the community that you live in. It's really so rewarding. It's amazing. So with that, I am going to open up to questions.
Yeah, we have a few minutes left. Thank you so much, Paul. We really appreciate you talking about it. So I'm just going to start throwing some questions out there, and this is going to be for all of you, Paul, Jesse, Martine, your team, everybody. Clay is on there too. Let me just read here. Can you all talk about really quickly kind of how your your field has changed since the COVID epidemic has started, pandemic. You know, was it, you know, a lot of the unions I know focused very heavily on safety, safety, safety. So obviously, I'm sure you focus on that, but how has it changed with this pandemic?
It's unfortunately, we can't Zoom build, but obviously it takes more time when you enter the job site in the morning. Everybody has to be checked, temperature checked. You'll be questioned. Do you know anybody? Are you been associated with anybody? Are you feeling sick? What are your symptoms? And then you'll be asked to go home if you have symptoms, because we can't allow you work in close quarters at sometimes with a lot of people, and we do not want a mini surge there. So it has affected us. It's slowed it down, but the contractors that are employing us understand that, and they realize we, you know, think about these frontline workers in the hospitals, the nurses, the doctors. You lose those people, you've lost highly trained people that you cannot just replace. I mean, we're going to have a real problem in this country going forward with all the losses we've incurred from doctors and nurses. So it's the same with, we are considered essential workers. We are allowed to work, but we can't lose people that have gone through the trade and put in 10 years, 5-year apprenticeship. We can't just be replaced. So health is super huge.
Legacy can be able to work there too.
Awesome. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is Chris Moyer again. Our career field, we're very fortunate. A large portion of the work that we do deals with heavy highway and bridge construction, which has been deemed essential work. Caltrans has had to keep going, had to keep maintaining roads. We've not been impacted as severely as perhaps some other trades have by some of the shutdowns. We're also fortunate that our crews are relatively small and work outside in open spaces. They're not cramped and you know, in restricted and enclosed areas like Paul was saying, with you would expect with plumbers. So we're fortunate in that respect. Also, the Carpenters have developed sort of a joint program called JSAS, which helps contractors maintain their safety standards with regard to COVID. Brother Puglisi is our JSAS, one of our JSAS inspectors. I can let him talk about that a little bit.
So, hey, good morning, everybody. So JSAS is it's a service that's provided from the Northern California Carpenters Regional Council to our contractors as a third-party inspection to make sure that the contractor and the project is compliant with each county's health protocols regarding COVID-19. So I go out there and just help them out, make sure they got the proper signage up, make sure members are wearing their masks and keeping spatially distanced, and just kind of give them a fresh set of eyes, because a lot of times when you report to the same place every day, it looks the same. So when a new person comes in there, it provides a new perspective, so to speak, to any type of non-compliance with COVID-19 protocols. So that's what I do with that.
And so along with that being said, talking about how COVID affects for the audience that we're talking to right now, by the time you take your testing, get in, hopefully the vaccine is going to be well distributed, and this will not be an issue going forward once we get to with the herd immunity. This is only going to be throughout this year. By the time you guys get going, it's not going to be an issue.
So Jesse and your team, one of the students messaged and asked, Paul had mentioned that mechanics and math are on the entrance exam for 159. What does your test to get in kind of conclude, or sorry, have?
Once you get in, I mean, we do require a high school diploma or the equivalent, you know, which is a GED. I wish my Clay was on, but I don't think we have a test. Could you help me out with that, Brother Moyer?
Yeah,
I believe there is a
test.
test.
Yeah, Jesse, You're correct. We don't have, carpenters do not have a entrance exam. So as long as you have a high school diploma or equivalent GED, you'll join the program, whether direct indenture or through the pre-apprenticeship program.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Another question. Go ahead.
Talk about that for a second. So there are multiple avenues of entry into our program. I just want to make that clear and make sure that opportunity is understood. The one that we were originally, that Brother Walton that Clay was talking about, we're going to the ctcnc.org website, exploring the different links. There's one, I want to be a pile driver, I want to be a millwright, I want to be a carpenter. So there are different avenues and different options there. The pile drivers, what we also offer is what Brother Espinoza Jr. was talking about, is a direct entry. Each of our signatory contractors, each of the contractors that we work with, the union, just real quick for background for students, and this is the case with most unions, if not all, it's a partnership, right? It's a three-way partnership. There's the member / employee, there's the contractor / employer, and then the union, and the union helps to regulate or facilitate that relationship via the collective bargaining agreement, okay? So our signatory contractors would be also the thing that would be thought of as the employers. Each of these signatory contractors or employers has the prerogative to sponsor one new apprentice every quarter, every 3 months. So if a young person is coming out of high school and they're all fired up to get going, they really want to get in the career field, they know this is what they want to do, they've put their name in on the waiting list at the Career Center, the ctcnc.org website, they want to do the extra step and be proactive, they can contact us at the hall. We can get them a list of signatory contractors, and they can start actually petitioning or soliciting employment for these folks. You know, hey, I want to be in the pile drivers. Can you sponsor a new apprentice right now? I always tell people, if you're persistent and you're earnest and you show initiative, you hit the right contractor with the right need at the right time. They're like, yeah, sure, kid, we'll write you a letter. They write them a letter. They once they have the letter, they contact us here at the hall, specifically Martin Jr. He's our apprenticeship coordinator. They provide the documents. It's the GED, the ID, the letter. We start getting things rolling. They can roll right into the program, and that's what we have on the waiting list very long. So I just want to make sure that opportunity is understood as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Can I add one quick thing?
Absolutely.
So it doesn't really apply to the young folks on the Zoom meeting tier, but Aaron, just so you know, and some of the other folks may know, helmets to hard hats is another avenue to join the union, which is veterans from the military. So they have direct entry through that as well.
Awesome. Love to hear about that. I didn't know about that program. That's cool.
Helmets to Hard Hats as a separate organization. They've got a website and everything with information. It's a direct entry service, direct entry program for veterans.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Let me see. I'm looking through bear with me here. I'm looking through all of my questions.
Yeah, and Aaron, following what he just said, also helmets to hard hats applies to most unions and ours too. And Gavin Newsom has done this incredible push to bring and build the apprenticeships in California. And we are severely lacking in women in the field and diversity. So there's a giant push to bring in and raise our numbers as far as percentages on that. So I want to encourage, if I didn't mention, and I know Jesse and Martin have discussed this, working in construction, you have to be prepared for the elements. You work in the heat when it's 100 degrees out, plus when it's cold, freezing, you're going to work, and you're not in a conditioned space most of the time, especially when you're starting a building and the structural steel goes up and you're working on these decks, putting your material, you're exposed to the elements. And we don't work when it's unsafe with lightning and rain with electrical, because our cords are strung. But it is a physical trade. But again, once you get through your apprenticeship, there are things that are not as physical to do. Computer-aided design, controls. There in the industrial side, you have to control with valves open and such like that. there's a lot of specifics. Welding is a very controlled a skill, and whoever has a nice smooth hand becomes great welders. It isn't the big guy who's super strong. It just takes a real fine control. So there are things that are not where you have to, as these guys talked about, lift an extra bundle of 2x4s on your shoulder. So, and you're safe when you pick up a heavy pipe. There's enough people on that pipe to place it, and then you have equipment. So.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, we have just a couple of minutes left, so I'm gonna throw this question out. It was specifically aimed at the Carpenters Union. When is the right time to sign up for the program or to try to get in?
In 5 minutes.
We love it.
I mean, you could sign up to have your name on the list. Then once you graduate, you could look at our websites where we do have our companies listed when you're going to find a contractor to try to solicit a work. So once you get your name on the list, like Clay was talking about, there are ways of, getting yourself toward the front of the line is by getting a sponsorship letter from a contractor saying they want to bring you in as an apprentice through either one of our fields. So that is the best way. I mean, once you get closer to graduating, then you could probably put your name on that list, but definitely you can apply.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, we have just a couple minutes. So really quickly, I want each of our guests to just run through real quick and tell us what your favorite part, the best part, the most rewarding part for you personally is being a part of a union, a brotherhood, sisterhood in your field, in your career.
What it was for me, and still is, now that I'm giving back, it's even more so because I'm working with young people coming up and trying to pass on what I've learned. And also, I think that don't think that you're pigeonholed. There are so many directions you can go once you get through your apprenticeship and you have that knowledge, whether it's being a foreman, general foreman, a project manager, a computer design, or starting your own business. And and then seeing what you've done for your community. I feel so good. I've worked at DVC. I've worked at almost every high school in Mount Diablo Unified School District. It's just so rewarding to know that you've made a difference in your community, and your kids are going to take advantage of what you've done. I've worked at Sun Valley Mall way back in the day. And every time you walk down the mall, you're thinking, man, I really made a difference here. And what plumbers do is really prevent the spread of disease in society. That is where plumbing originated back in the 1800s.
Awesome.
So there's a higher mission for us.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, we have like 2 minutes, so I want to get everybody have a chance. Go ahead.
So I think Martin Jr. Touched on it a little bit when he was speaking to you folks. Drive across the bridge and feel that sense of pride and accomplishment that you can say, and look at your kids, right? Martin, look at your kids. Hey, Daddy built this bridge, and it's going to be here for a long time, and it helps people. And that's that aspect. And then, like I said, working in the field as a commercial diver it's an amazing career. You're getting paid to do something you love. A lot of people probably don't know that you can dive in Coit Tower. I was on a dive job in Coit Tower in one of the water storage tanks up there. Just really interesting things like that. That's the aspect that we enjoy as rank and file members. As field representatives like we are now, one of the most satisfying things for us, and for me personally, I'll speak to mine, is doing events like this and meeting young people and showing them and educating them that there is a career out there waiting for you, not to think in terms of a job, and see that click and watch them come in, make membership, go through apprenticeship, enjoy the successes and the benefits that come from this career field. And the next thing you know, they're calling you up, they're like, hey, can you talk to my lender and write a letter? I'm buying a house, and I'd love to do that. It's very rewarding. It's rewarding as a rank and file member. It's rewarding as for us as field reps. It's hard for me to overstress it, really.
Yeah. With me, when I was working in the field, although everything for me was indoor, You know, I have annoyed my granddaughter enough when I would pass by this one place, which was my very first job I ever worked at. Whenever we get on a certain freeway, she already knows. She goes, "Don't tell me about that first place you worked at." So it's you know, with the Cal Academy of Science, with the John Muir here in Concord, just getting to work, you know, was great. You know, like say, but as a working for the marketing and political, it is being able to get our contractors those big jobs that'll put our members to work. You know, when our members are working, you know, Contra Costa will definitely thrive here. So it is getting those big jobs, keeping track of the work, making sure our contractors are out there bidding these jobs. Political side, I'm still learning that, so I'll leave political alone.
Awesome.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, I was a 20-year-old kid building bridges all throughout Northern California. I got to go all the way almost down by Bakersfield, all the way up to the Bay Bridge. I mean, I was everywhere building bridges. It was nice. We had a great group of people that we worked with. That was really rewarding for me, learning all those experiences, becoming a homeowner at such a young age, you know. But the thing I love most about now with what I do is what Moira touched about is bringing in the new generation, bringing in those young individuals that don't know what they want to do with their lives, where they're at a fork in their life where I'm either going to go work at Taco Bell or maybe I can choose the trades and go have a great decent wage, have a great life, where you have union and your union brotherhood. So I love finding those individuals and kind of giving my knowledge that I can and kind of guide them in the right direction. And then 2 years down the road in their apprenticeship, they're calling us, "Hey, I need a referral. I'm buying a house or I'm buying a new car." You know, I love hearing those stories, and I take pride in that. So that's kind of what we do here with the Carpenters.
I love that. Well, we have to cut this off because the kids have to get to their next period. So I cannot thank you all enough for participating today. We can't do the work that we do without you. You guys are amazing. And any questions, students, that maybe you think of later or information that you want, please let your teachers know. They'll reach out to me and I will reach out to our guests and get that info over to you right away. So thank you guys so very, very much. We value you. We appreciate you, and have a wonderful day, everybody.